city and which mall or which location was it? So you can put on the chat, but you can also speak, because speaking makes it more interactive. So if you have been to a Zara store, can you talk about what was the location of the store? So do we have a Zara store in Mumbai Oberoi Mall? Zara is talking about. Anybody else in any other city? So if you look at Zara stores anywhere in the world, those are in prime locations. Yeah. Maybe the high mall of the city or the walking street of that city. So what does Zara do? Zara spends lots of money on the location, on the right location. So that is it. I said, strategy is all about making choices. So Zara makes a choice that our location has to be prime. So that is what they do. But what they don't do, Zara doesn't do too much of advertising and promotion. So they don't spend too much money on advertising and promotion. Now, what is the implication of that? So they're saving money. So as I said, strategy is all about making choices. Choices to do certain things and choices not to do certain things. So in this case, they're spending a lot of money on location, but they're not spending money on advertising. Again, if you look at most of the companies in this garment retailing, most of them outsource their manufacturing. Most of them, send their manufacturing to Bangladesh or to China or to India. But what does Zara do? Zara makes 60% of its products in Spain or in Portugal, near to their head office, the design studio. Now, if they produce in Spain and Europe, the cost of production will go up. But what is their strategy? Their strategy is they're gaining on time. They can quickly manufacture around their design studio and supply it to the world in 15 days at a little higher price. Whereas other companies outsource to Bangladesh, China, and they take 4 to 6 months to supply the products. So what is the choice here? Time versus money. So they want to save on time, and that's why they have near their head office manufacturing. Whereas other companies want to just save money, so they outsource to low-cost countries like Bangladesh or China. So that's again strategy. You're deciding to do certain things and not deciding to do something else. Again, in terms of the raw material which Zara buys. Now, as I said, the clothing is something which you don't know tomorrow what will be the fashion. And a lot of this is dictated by Hollywood or Bollywood or the movie stars. So some movie star wear some dress, maybe Katrina Kaif or maybe some Tom Cruise, and that sort of fashion goes viral, and people want to wear that type of dress or that type of color. So Zara doesn't buy raw material that is cloth of any color. They just buy the raw material cloth of only white color or gray color, and they dye it or color it near to the time of production. If yellow color is going very hot, they will make it into yellow. If red is going hot, they will make it into red. So that is again flexibility. So they are looking at flexibility. They are looking at in terms of manufacturing just in time. Again, to save time, what does Zara do? I have read of articles where Zara still outsource certain manufacturing to Asia. So what do? When a ship is sailing from Asia, maybe Vietnam, so they will put all the cloth, the buttons, the zips, everything on the ship. And on the ship, they have workers. So as the ship is sailing towards the US, which will take 20-25 days, the people are actually stitching and making those cloths on the ship, so that as soon as the ship reaches US, the dress is ready. So those are some of the unique things this company does, so that they're able to save on time. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So what are we saying? What is Zara strategy? it's all about creativity. It's all about rapid turnaround. So they're able to do everything in 15 days. So that is, their USP. It started in 1975 in Spain. Now it has stores in 400 plus cities in maybe all the countries in the world. And if you look at the performance of Zara, they are about 23 billion euro company, 12% more growth in 2016. Look at their profit margin, gross margin, 57%. So highly profitable company. Even their profits are growing by 10%. They have about 7,000 plus stores across the world in 93 countries. So they are in a growth momentum. Whereas most other companies in Europe are closing down. So these guys are opening more stores. They're also opening some of the smaller stores. And they're also embracing online. Because now in retailing, a lot of things are moved online. So Zara has both online and offline stores. So you can go to a Zara store, choose something and get it delivered home. Or you could book something online, go to a Zara store in your neighborhood, just try it out, and then they will ship it out. And also what they do is they also spend a lot of money on the location. So recently they bought a store in Fifth Avenue in New York, in a place called Times Square. So that is a little bit about Zara. And what did we learn from the Zara case study? Number one, it is all about making choices, and they are not following what their competitors are doing. All their competitors are sort of outsourcing manufacturing, but Zara is manufacturing themselves. So a lot of the aspects of strategy is not to follow anybody, but to do what you think is unique. So that is very important. So if we get into any questions at this point in time about Zara, or you want to add anything? Anybody wants to add anything from the case study, or you want to ask me anything on Zara? Yes, Komal, what do you want to ask? So, Professor Bharat, can we enable the students to be, I can see them, because otherwise, I'm feeling I'm talking to empty screen.
Yes, sir. Lade sir.
Yeah. Komal, you can speak.
Please enable others
Yeah.
So that they can speak. And I request all students to take active part in the discussion.
Yeah. So
Whatever you have questions in your mind, please ask.
Yeah. So what Dhanendra is asking, do they not spend on promotion? Yes, they spend on promotion, but much lesser than their competitors. Yeah. So they spend more money on the location, and they spend less money on the promotion. Again, if some of you have gone to a Zara store, so what is your observation of the Zara sales boys and girls? Do they push you to buy something? Bhai sahab le lijiye, behan ji le lijiye, or what is your experience? So most of the Zara, the shop people, they will not push you. They will just observe you from far away. Yeah. So they give us space to make choices. Absolutely, Sarah. Yeah. So they are, and every one of them have a handheld device. So whenever you are going to a store, and and they are talking about, you see some lovely, wow, what a lovely orange dress, or somebody says, oh, what a lousy red color. So they're hearing you out, and they have a handheld device, and they're noting down what the customers are saying. And think about this, they have 7,000 plus stores across the world. So 365 days, 24/7, they are noting down the customer trends. And all of this is being transmitted to the head office where the design happens. So they're collecting information real time. So what is the implication? So their salespeople are trained much more. They're not just simple salespeople, but they are also consumer insiders. They're also market researchers. So they have to pay a little higher salary to the salespeople, train them more. But what they don't do, they don't spend a single money for doing market research. They don't employ some market research agency to do the market research. So this is all about doing certain things and not doing certain things. Yeah. Sir, I still cannot see the participants. Can I see the participants?
Yeah.
Because I can only see 3 people here.
I think that might be limitation of
So
others.
this is,
Anumita,
Rade sir,
I have unmute you. Anumita, you can ask the question. Anumita,
just unmute all participants.
okay.
Hello.
Yeah, just
unmute as well as, if they could be visible, their screens could be visible and, I could see them, they can put on their videos.
Right.
Because that's how, a typical our class in SPJMR happens, where, all the professors and all the students are on camera and
Right.
we, talk as if they're in a real class.
your class.
Sir.
Yes. Jayant is saying something. Okay, why does Zara reduce cost in advertising? Because as I said, it's a matter of making choices. Every company has limited resources. So where do you spend the resource? So Zara believes in the location. And if you look at Zara is a pretty popular brand in the West, in Europe, USA, India, it's still new. So it's more a word of mouth promotion which happens. They did not spend too much on a TV or a newspaper ad. So that is why they don't spend too much on that.
Sir, is it just like Apple? Apple also don't promote their things, right? They have a loyal customer fan base as well.
Yes, so we can say pretty similar. It's a category is different. So every company, if you look at the strategy, companies can have 3 broad types of strategy. One strategy is called differentiation. So Zara and Apple both follow something called a differentiation strategy. What does it mean? Their products are so unique, the features are so unique that customers want to actually buy them. So they are not so much focused on the cost part of it, but they're more focused on the design, the looks and feel of the clothing or the Apple, the iPhone. So that is one strategy. Another set of companies follow a strategy called a low cost strategy. So their entire principle is how can I reduce my cost so that I am the cheapest available in the world. And if you look at another retail company called Walmart, or in India you look at DMart. So these are companies which focus on low cost. So by the sheer volume, they will buy from low cost countries. They'll negotiate very high with the suppliers, and their cost is the cheapest. And Walmart in its store in the US, writes in in the checkout counter, if you find anything cheaper than here in Walmart within 3 kilometers, just come back and return us the cloth. We will not ask you any question. So दावे से बोलती है कि मेरा सबसे सस्ता है. So that is another strategy. And what is the third strategy? The third strategy is something called focus. So that a company doesn't want to cater to every customer, but wants to only cater to a certain segment of the customer. So here you could take example of Royal Enfield in India. So Royal Enfield only sells high-end bikes, which are being used by people. Sorry, somebody asking me something. Amit, you want to ask me something, Amit Mathane? So what I'm saying, the focus strategy is all about looking at a small segment and focusing on that. So what does Royal Enfield do? They only look at people who are biking enthusiasts, who are ready to pay 1 lakh, 2 lakh to buy a bike. They are not competing with a Hero or a Honda or a Bajaj, which is a low cost bike, 40,000, 60,000. So that's a different segment. So these are the broad three strategies: differentiation, low cost strategy, and the third is a focus strategy. So Zara is an example of a company which follows more of a differentiation strategy. So does it answer you, Sagar?
Sagar, you can speak. Sagar, I am unmuting you. You
Sir?
can speak. Sagar, you can speak.
Yeah, Sagar. Tell me.
I made.
So can I ask a
Yeah,
question,
please go ahead.
So as you said that Zara does not spend money on advertising. So it does mouth advertising. So does it affect the profits if they spend a lot of money, not lot of money, but a few amount of money on advertising? Won't it help in increasing the profits? Like in countries like India, it's not necessary that all people will get to know about Zara just by mouth publicity.
Word of mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why
Like I got to know about Zara just 2 years ago. It's a very old company, and I got to know 2 years ago.
Yeah, because in India
So
they came, maybe hardly 5 years back or 6 years back. So India is a relatively new company. But again, if you look at, how does Zara do promotion in India? By the location. So they are on, the DLF Mall in Saket in Delhi. They are in the, Phoenix Mall in Mumbai in Lower Parel. So they are in the, high-end malls, the locations where people generally go. And by location, they attract, already the advertising happens by the location. Because people go to those high-end malls and by seeing, they just, get inside and then they're hooked on to buying something. So what are we saying, what is strategy is all about? So these are the three things we said. Strategy helps manager assess the company's present situation. So what is the strength, weakness, opportunity, threat for the company? Second step, identify the direction of the company, the vision of the company. So if you look at a company like Mahindra and Mahindra, where I worked for a number of years. So what does Mahindra say? Mahindra's vision is Mahindra wants to become a top 50 brand in the world by 2021. So that is the vision. And they created 5 or 6 years back. So that is the direction. And now how do you get there? Third step is how the company will get there. So the company could get there by just, like Zara, opening more and more stores or getting into more and more countries, or maybe they expand their product range. So that is very, very important. Another aspect of, Zara is that their products are similar across the world. If you go to a Zara store in Spain or USA or India or China, everywhere they will be selling mostly Western dress. They will not localize their merchandise or what the product they sell country by country. Because if you look at India, in India still many women wear sari or salwar clothes, but Zara doesn't have too much of that. Zara only sells Western dress. So they are focusing on a particular segment of customers who are young or they're young at heart. They are not trying to sell to everybody. So by having a standard product, what is the advantage? They're able to manufacture in few locations and huge volume. So they get economies of scale. And that's why what Zara says is their products are something called affordable fashion. So they are not as expensive as a Gucci or a Anwani, but they are not as cheap as a Walmart or a Carrefour. So that is what Zara does, and this is a basic definition of strategy. Again, if you look at strategy is all about competing differently from rivals. So whatever your competition does, you should not do the same thing. Also, it is about having a strategy to distinctive element to attract customers. So it's all about customers. So again, if you look at I gave you a little bit of information about my own college, SPJMR, which is one of the 6,000 MBA colleges in India. Or if you look at LIT, which is one of the maybe thousands of engineering colleges in India. So if education institute has to also be competing with others, they have to do something differently. So I can talk a little bit about what SPJMR does differently. Yeah. So if you look at our process of selecting students, it's very different. Every every business school has a exam test, CAT or GMAT, and an interview. But we have something called a group interview. So we have at one time 4 or 5 students being interviewed by 2 or 3 professors. So why do we do group interview? Because we are not only checking of what the students are saying, but also are they listening to the others, and are they building on their points? Then again, if you look at most colleges in India, they just have a corporate training intern. But in SPJMR, every student also goes to rural part of India and does a internship in an NGO. So that is differentiation. That many colleges do. Also, every student at SPJMR goes for 3 weeks to top school in the US. So everybody is getting a rural experience. So like that, in my time when I was in LIT. So why is LIT so the same? We have a very strong alumni. So my first job was Reliance. So when I joined Reliance as a GET, I had so many senior people who are all from LIT. So the LIT name itself, gives alumni is our professors, at LIT is our edge. So like that every should have something distinctive to attract customers. In this case, customers are what students. Yeah. Why would students come to LIT or SPJM? Because there is something special about those colleges. Again, if you look at strategy, what is strategy? Strategy is something which is sustainable competitive advantage, which has to be sustained over many years. It's not just for 1 year or 1 month. So you see many companies which just come up, suddenly the share price go up, but again they fall down and they also die very quickly. But you look at other companies like Tata's, where I spent more than 10 years. Man, Tata ka bahut namak khaya hai. So Tatas are there for more than 100 years and they're still growing strong. So strategy has to be something which is sustainable. Again, if you look at many of the startups today, they are not making money. So they are just throwing, freebies to a lot of customers, and that's why they're getting customers. You just look at recently Zomato and Swiggy, they're doing very well. But are they profitable? They're still not profitable. So that is not sustainable strategy. So over a few years' time, if they don't start making profit, they're doomed to fail. Yeah. So the basics of business doesn't change, be it a big company or be it a small company. So the sustainable part is very important. Then again, strategy could be two types: proactive strategy or reactive strategy. What is reactive strategy? If you look at telecom sector, Airtel was there, Vodafone was there, and Reliance Jio came in. And Reliance Jio said, okay, we will give zero, free of cost call for a few months. So much data free. So then what did Airtel and Vodafone do? They did reactive. So they also reduced their tariff. They also tried to compete with Reliance Jio. But that is not a good strategy. Good strategy has to be proactive. That you have to, already anticipate what your competitors are likely to do. And based on that, you would already form scenario planning. Like it's like a game of chess. So do some of you play chess?
Yes, sir.
So chess में क्या होता है? So when you play a चाल, you're thinking about 2 or 3 चाल ahead. अगर मैंने घोड़ा ऐसा खेला, so what would my competitor do? The other guy do? So similarly in strategy, whenever you're planning something, you have to think about, if I do this, what is the reaction of my competitor? Or if a competitor is likely to do this, what is my strategy? So it's more of a long term, it's a longer term thinking. So you have to be proactive strategy. If you do just reactive strategy, then you are dead today in today's world. And what is important in strategy is there are two things of strategy. One is making the strategy, other is executing the strategy. Means whatever you're planning, are you able to execute? So then only it's a good management. If you just keep planning a lot of good things, making nice PowerPoint presentations and say, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that, but you're not able to execute, then it is not a good solution. Again, like Tata's, I have also spent number of years in Reliance, my first job. So Reliance is very good in execution. What do you mean by execution? So Reliance is only one of the companies in India which plans projects which are mega projects. So I was in the Jamnagar refinery, which was the world's largest refinery. 27 million tons those days, created in 2 or 3 years time. And at that point in time, 1997, Indian Oil Corporation was there for 40 years and they had created 25 million tons. And Reliance came in 2 or 3 years and started 27 million ton refinery, which is today grown to 90 million ton. So Reliance, everything is all about scale. We will do something in such a huge scale and do it very quickly. And they would deploy a lot of resources, a lot of money, a lot of people, and they will do it. So execution is key in Reliance. And if you look at today, Reliance has moved from oil and gas to retail to telecom, and everywhere the common strategy is execution. So think very huge, do a very good project management, you deploy resources, and you execute it. And execute such a huge project that आगे वाला competitor डर जाए कि जिस area में Reliance आ रहा है, everybody else has a danger, and they sort of dominate. Now the new things what Reliance is saying they will do is they're also getting into electric car batteries. Yeah, so that will totally disrupt India. So now when we say automobile, we say Tata, Mahindra, General Motors, Ford, but maybe in 5 years time we'll talk about also Reliance. Because Reliance is making a big bet into the batteries which are used in the electric vehicles. Any question at this point in time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, no matter how good the startup is, no matter how great the idea is, there's a good possibility that it will fail. No matter what strategies you apply, whatever could go wrong will go wrong.
Sure.
So, sir, how do these people manage risk? Like, how do they calculate risk? I have often heard the term called as calculated risk management. What is this?
Yeah, sure. So that's a good question. So if you look at, so there is a chance of failure of reduced chance of number one, is the people. So some of the companies, best talent. Our time, when I was in LIT, Reliance was the first company which came to campus. After a batch of 83, they selected 7 people. So Reliance. If you look at Zara, we said that they have people from 90 countries. So one is, these good companies hire the best talent from across the world. So because in today's world, factory or a machinery or anything, but the only develop that company. One is hiring the best people from the top colleges and then giving them continuous training. So as I said, I spent many years in Tata, 10 years. So every year they would send us to lots of training programs. Yeah. Because in today's world, whatever you study in college, in LIT or after MBA is not good enough. You have to keep learning. So the companies which spend on retraining their people have an edge. That is one aspect. Second aspect, companies also work on scenario planning. There is no just one plan. So there is plan. Have a backup plan. So that is what I'm saying, proactive strategy. By this means you are trying to reduce risk. And even if you fail, you should change your should not be in the management. You have decided something like this. It's not working, but still I keep on working on the same strategy. That is the wrong thing. But if the company's ego and they're ready to accept, this is the wrong thing I have done. So now let's quickly turn around and move to the other thing, without having ego. But that's very, very difficult. Most companies leaders have huge egos. And they say, "Jo maine kiya, wahi karte rahunga." Although it's problematic. So do I answer you, my friend?
Yes, sir. But sir, what about the small companies? Smaller companies I've seen have gone bankrupt. They just shut down themselves. Done by them so that they could have reclaimed the status.
So again, in the startup world, in the entrepreneurship world, closing a company is not. So if you look at, in the where do we have the maximum startups and successful startups? This is a place called Silicon Valley, San Francisco in the US. And
Yes,
San Francisco Valley, all the Googles and the world come, and many startups from Zoom, so that startup companies, maybe 9 of them fail. Only one is split off to a bigger company. And of bigger company, they get a lot of money, but that entrepreneur then doesn't stop working. Then that entrepreneur becomes a Gani Baba. He mentors other startups and he becomes a venture capitalist. And he then puts money in number of startups. And again, when they grow, then he makes money in some of them, he loses money in them. So this Indian concept of failure is very wrong. So it's not that always you can succeed. So you have to fail many times to succeed eventually. So because education system from childhood, parents को बच्चों को बोलते हैं बेटा फर्स्ट आना है, आपको अच्छा करना है. So but that's not possible all this time. So if the does only that, they will not do something out of the box.
Exactly.
So,
Yes, sir, exactly. That Elon Musk also lost almost both of his companies.
which
The
one?
SpaceX
Sorry, which
one,
company?
Elon Musk. He had
Yes, yeah.
SpaceX and Tesla. So at some point he had to make a decision. He had to put his money into either one company or into both. If he had to, into both companies might die. But he took the risk. So what you're
Right.
saying is we have to take the risk. We have to keep effort, right?
Yes,
No
yes. So
matter
effort is important. And again, since you're starting startups, what is important, if you are a startup founder, so then inside you. So one is, all this theory of change. One is the experience. You look at, Elon Musk. Who is he? He is somebody who was born in South Africa. As a, high school student, he developed some, video games. And he sold off that company to finance his education. Then he went to Canada to study. Then again in Canada, when he was studying, he was the first, fintech company. Then he sold off to somebody, he made money. Then, using that money, he then started Tesla, SpaceX, and many other companies. So one aspect to be entrepreneur is you should have a global experience. Yeah. So today you are studying in LIT Nagpur Institute. In a few years, you should have experience somewhere overseas so that you see different worlds. Second important business or entrepreneur networking. How do you network? Yeah. So how do you build relationship with your batchmates, with others from the industry? And if you look at today's world, LinkedIn is the best one. So if you want to, network, tie up people on LinkedIn. Yeah. So I'm also on LinkedIn. Want to connect with me. So connections are connection, and entrepreneurship is all from different people. Any other question? How much time do we have? We started a little late, so can I go a little, more time?
Yes, yes, you can go.
At
No
11:10.
problem. No problem.
So can we go
Yes.
till 12:10?
Yes, no problem. You can.
Okay. Some more concepts of strategy, basic concepts. So now, how do you, make a strategy? What are the steps in making a strategy? So what I'll be saying is strategy making, strategy execution process. So you can think of strategy in 5 processes. Number one is what? Developing a strategic vision. So developing a vision for your own company, be it a big company or a small company. And to give you some examples of vision, if you look at, a company like Walmart said that, Walmart wants to become a $500 billion company in 5 years. So your vision, or, it could be something like, like for a institute like us, SPJMR. What is our vision and mission? We say that we want to influence practice means what? Our students are, when they go to change the practices of the that they are able to create such research which influences the company's practice. Next is objectives. So vision is very high end. Under vision, you get some specific objectives. 2020-22 में क्या करेंगे? Now this could be in terms, I will attract 30% new customers. Maybe, if, I'm an education institution, I will start a new program. Then third step is crafting a strategy to achieve the vision. What are the strategies we talked about? All about doing something unique like a Zara or a Apple, or a low cost strategy like a Walmart or a DMart, or a third is like a focus strategy. Focus is not like LIT. LIT is a focus strategy, right? We are a engineering college which is focused on chemical and related fields, which have in all different branches. So that is the third stage. You have a crafting a strategy. Then the fourth phase is also very important, implementing whatever you have set. How do you sort of implement and execute the strategy? you need to have the right money, resources. That is very important. The fifth phase, each stage, you will do a monitoring and development. You will always do a performance evaluation. हर एक step ठीक चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है. So although I am showing you a 5-step process, it's not linear. It is also a continuous loop. You have something for 5 years, but today you cannot not even plan for 5 years. Yeah. You can have a 5-year long vision, but keep on refining it from time to time as change. Yeah. Last 1 year, this has been the biggest disruption, right? What pandemic has done. So all the top institutes in the world college, suddenly they have to move to online. And online, there's a totally different competition. You think about all the movies, they were all shown in theaters in the past. But now suddenly, it's an Amazon Prime and, Hotstar, which are totally disrupting industries. So you need to keep on, updating much more faster. Any questions on this 5-step process of strategy creation, execution? Ask me also.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Which thing young students should keep in mind that they want to become an entrepreneur? What thing they should keep in mind?
So as I said, to become an entrepreneur, because I have seen a lot of my students from my MBA. Many of them have become entrepreneurs. And when I reflect, I've seen those students in my class, interacting with them. So what is different about the students who start something on their own? Number one is they're very, very curious. They have a very good, knowledge of what's happening in the world. So they read newspapers, they follow news very regularly. They're not just, kitabi kida. They're not just studying their subjects of their, course, but they are also keeping a wide eyes open on what's happening in the environment. And that, you should not only read Economic Times, but also some global, Financial Times newspaper or Economist magazine. You should listen every day to a BBC or a CNBC news so that you get an idea कि दुनिया में क्या चल रहा है, what's new. That is from where some ideas will come in your head. Second aspect is you should also do a lot of education and continuous education. So don't stop at graduation or post-graduation, but continuously keep learning. And again, if you look at, who are your best friends? The best friends are the ones with whom you study. Yeah. So the better institute you go to, the better network of your classmates you have. So now you're in LIT. And believe me, so my batchmates of 1997, they're all, doing very, very well across industry. Similarly, your batch of 2021 or 2022, those, 75, 80 students or 150 students in LIT, they will be in different, places in the world in 10 years' time. So are you building relationship with your own batchmates? That is very, very important. Third aspect is, you should always try to have some international exposure, because some of the countries like USA, Germany are, way ahead of India. Maybe some of them 5 or 10 years ahead of us. So if you work there for a few years or study there for a few years, you get to know what's happening new there and maybe bring those new business models to India. That is, the third aspect. Fourth aspect is, in today's world, money is not a constraint. In earlier days, only Ambani or Tatas could start a company. But today, even you and me can start a company. If you have an idea, there are a lot of people there to fund you. But how will people fund you? If you have the network to reach out to those people. So connect to people on LinkedIn, connect to people, your alumni, connect to industry. Yeah. So that is very, very important. And this connection has to be regular. If you go to somebody when you have a need, they will not help you. So the relationship has to be built over 5-10 years. So if you know birthday of people, keep wishing them. If you know, you're connected on LinkedIn and somebody gets a promotion, you keep on wishing them. So slowly over time, you build a relationship with those people. So did I answer you?
Yes, sir, I got
Yeah.
it.
So keep your eyes open, keep learning, keep networking. Those are very, very important aspects. Anything else?
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, you said that Zara started in Spain, right?
Right.
So, but how they expanded it all over the world in such a less time? Like how they get into the business in such less time?
Sure. So one of the subjects I teach is international business. So if you look at any company in the world, how do they expand? We have a theory called Uppsala model. Yeah. So I will briefly explain to you what does it mean. So it says that most companies, when they want to go global, they first target their neighboring countries. So for most Indian companies, when they want to go global, where do they go? They go to Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. Most US companies, when they want to go global, where do they go? They go to Canada, Mexico. Most Spanish companies, where will they go? They will go to some other part of Europe, Germany, Austria, Belgium. So one is that, you go to first your neighboring countries. Why neighboring countries? Because the logistics cost is less, because आपका geographic distance कम है, so you are able to ship out at a lower, shipping cost. That is one. Second is mostly neighboring countries are some similarity. So if Bangladesh is nothing but actually people in Bangladesh also speak Bengali. They also like fish to eat. They also have like Rabindranath Tagore, the songs they listen. Only difference is one is mostly Hindu, mostly Muslims. If you look at Sri Lanka, a part of Sri Lanka is virtually Tamil Nadu. Yeah. Similarities. That is, some way what people expand. There are multiple ways. One is you expand on your own. You set up your own offices and stuff like that. But most companies, what do they do? Now they have the platforms to go global. Even if you are a small company, you can on Amazon your products and services, and they will take you global. So it's no longer necessary that you need to be a very big company having your own shipping expertise, foreign exchange management expertise. Only thing you have to do is you have to list on some of these platforms like Alibaba or Amazon, and they will take you to various countries. So did I answer you, my friend?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Yes.
Interesting. Anything else?
Hello. I have a question related to Zomato.
Right.
Recent files RFP and SIP and got great from from
Market. Yes.
yeah, and in they mentioned first time they mentioned profit recent in last quarter, and it is because they targeted both consumer and business too. So how far they will go by doing this? What's their future strategy? Means it is not good, na, if you target both consumer and business.
No, why not? So let me explain. So we just have one session, but there are many concepts in strategy, and one of the hot topics on the platform. So what is platform strategy? So the concept there is today not selling any product or service, but you are making a platform. So think about Uber and Ola. What is it? Platform to connect potential customers, potential drivers, a car. What is Zomato? Or to connect many customers like us who are foodies, who want good food variety, and hundreds of restaurants, thousands of restaurants which want to supply food items to the customer. The platform, it is connecting both. Now, what is the strength of that? Depends on how many customers and how many types of restaurants are dealing. And once you have with both. But again, going back to my example, what I would say is, Zomato made a good starting. When people were all locked up, we could not go to restaurants, started ordering even more. Once this corona is reduced within 6 months, will people go back to restaurants and hotels in a way? I believe yes. A lot of people go back, but still some will continue buying online. So this model is not fully proven because they're still not profitable. Because I see my son, ordering food, he orders the same restaurant, different dishes separately. Then that person comes each time to deliver the same product from the same restaurant, but different people coming. So how do they make money? So they're losing a lot of money. So as of now, this hype about Zomato and Swiggy is about the future, because the thinking is that once everybody is on platforms, the competition will reduce. Then Zomato and Swiggy can keep increasing their price, and they the restaurant owner customers like you and me. So did I answer you, my friend?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think, fascinating, Professor, Bharat. So very happy that, our students are interacting, asking questions.
Yes, sir.
And if any of you want to reach me in the future, email address is here.
Okay.
You want to know anything more about my college, the website is given there. I'm happy to connect. And in good times, when Corona ends, maybe if I come to Nagpur, my parents still stay in Nagpur. Happy to meet you on campus. And always there's a soft corner for LIT students, because I also studied from LIT one point in time. And just to let you know, we have, one or two students from LIT who come in and do the MBA. So I feel very happy, and that somebody has come from my own college. So I think there's a huge potential for all of you. So how we need to end now, or can we have more questions?
So, do you have more? I think you can take 10 minutes more again
Okay.
if you require.
Sure.
Right.
So any more questions, please ask, because by asking only we can know more about what we want to know.
Sir, recently you told us about a sustainable strategy. That is, a strategy will last long.
Right.
You gave example of Tata. So, how to identify whether our strategy is sustainable or not? Means how to analyze our strategy.
Sure. So good, So as I said, there are many frameworks. So I will, maybe quickly introduce to you, another framework. We talked about something called Porter's Five Forces model. So Michael Porter is like the guru of strategy. He is a professor from the Harvard Business School, which is in the US, which is one of the top business schools in the world. Yeah. And what is? Let me share the slide with you. Can you see my slide? Yeah. So this Five Forces model, what does it talk about? It helps us to do an industry structure analysis. So any industry you want to analyze, you need to do an industry structure analysis. And there are 5 forces. What are those 5 forces? Number 1 is bargaining power of suppliers. So any industry, there would be some suppliers. Yeah. Supplying some raw material. So who has bargaining power? The supplier has more bargaining power, or the company has more bargaining power? So let me take an example of airline industry. So who are the suppliers to airline industry like Indigo or Air India? Who are the suppliers? So suppliers, anybody? So suppliers are the big aeroplane makers, right? Boeing and Airbus. So they are a supplier to the airline company. Which is the other? The pilot. So pilots are also one of the raw material who fly the plane. In this case, if you look at, they're all big airplane manufacturers, Boeing and Airbus, and there are few small ones. And how many airline companies in the world? Maybe 6 or 7 in India, maybe 200 in the whole world. So there are 200 companies and just 2 major suppliers. Who has bargaining power? The suppliers. So if I am Indigo or a United Airlines or a Singapore Airline, मैं जाऊँ तो कहाँ जाऊँ? I just go to these 2 companies and buy. So they have all. They can say इस price में लेना पड़ेगा. You wait for 2-3 years for delivery because they don't go anywhere else. Other supplier is pilots, and if you look at, pilots are highly unionized. So if you are working in a factory like Reliance and workers go on strike, the managers can still run the factory for a few days. But think about it, if the pilots go on a strike, can the manager say, "Chal, hut, fly the plane"? You cannot fly the plane. You require a license, so many hours of training to to fly aeroplanes. Then what happens? The pilots have all the power. You keep on hearing, pilots gone on a strike. British Airways, on a strike. Australian Airlines on a strike. So all the bargaining power is with the suppliers. So that's why if you look at most airline companies in the world, they're all in losses. They're making a lot of money. Think Air India, got oxygen. Think of Fisher, Air. Again, if you look at threat of new entrant, किसी industry में can new companies come in easily? If new companies can come in easily, then that industry profitability is a question. For any start, you just not even buy up, you can lease up and you can connect between two cities and you can start an airline company. Again, in India, FDI is allowed. Foreign companies can come in and set up an airline company. So you see Vistara, with us, Air Asia, again, from Malaysia with Tata. So number of new companies keep coming. You think about education industry. There are so many engineering colleges and so many more keep coming. Because some good teachers, some good buildings, and you can start. Yeah. So threat of new entrants is there. Then threat of substitute products. अभी plane के लिए आपका substitute क्या है? Maybe a high speed train, maybe Volvo bus between Bombay and Pune. These are all substitutes, but these are the direct substitutes. But there could be indirect substitutes. So like today, what we are doing, a WebEx or a Zoom call. So that is also a substitute for airlines. So with this 1.5 year, everybody using so many Zoom and WebEx meetings. In the future, not many people may travel. Only for very important meetings they will travel. So that's again a threat. Bargaining power of buyers. Who are the buyers for the airline company? Customers like you and me. The big corporates. TCS has 5 lakh people. So they can bargain with Air India or Indigo and say, मैं 5 lakh लोगों का ticket खरीदूंगा आपसे, give me a discount price. Even you can go to a Make My Trip or some other site and choose. जिसने भी हमको low cost का flight दिया हम उसमें book कर लेते. So what does it mean for? And the fifth is what rivalry. मतलब क्या competition. इस industry में competition कितना तगड़ा है. So if you look at airline industry, in India itself there are 6 and 7. Globally there are 100 and 200 companies. So the competition is also high, and that's why if you look at the airline industry is one of the most unprofitable industry in the world. Whereas if you look at some other industries like people who make semiconductors, people who make smartphones, people who make software, those are highly much more profitable industries. So through this Porter's 5 forces model, you can sort of analyze the industry and then look at whether an industry is profitable or not profitable. In the same light, you can also look at the food delivery industry. Right? Your question was, will Zomato in the future be profitable, not profitable? So if you look at this food delivery industry, what does it take? Threat of entry of new players. Many new players can come in very easily. Why can many players come in easily? Because the the entry barrier is low. आपको क्या करना है? 2 रेस्टोरेंट का टाई अप कर लो, 4 आपकी बाइक लगा दो और आपके एरिया में आप फूड डिलीवरी शुरू कर सकते. So it is not a very high tech company. चाहिए कोई डिजाइन. So the threat of entry is very high. So you keep on seeing lot of small and big companies coming in and getting into this industry. May not be highly profitable in the long run. So today Zomato is Swiggy well, but tomorrow they may have a lot of competition. So to your short question, but in the process I also introduce you to another concept. So in summary, हमने क्या सीखा? What is the basic of strategy? 3-step process. Then we looked at 3 types of strategy: differentiation, focus, and low cost strategy. Then we looked at also the 5-step process for making strategy. Then we now looked at the Porter's 5 forces model, which talks about the industry structure analysis. Yeah. So any questions?
Sir, you mentioned the strategies involving the real-time analysis and the closing in the gap of supply and demand, like into 15 days. So why aren't many companies following it? Like why only Zara? Why isn't everyone doing that if it's working?
So that's a very good question. Because again, as I said, making strategy and executing strategy are 2 different things. So with that logic, everybody can study a Tata model or a Reliance model or a Zara model, and they can do it themselves. But it's not so easy, because to execute the strategy, you require those talented people. You require that ecosystem, which takes years to perfect and implement. So Zara's secret is a lot of things to do with the supply chain and logistics, lot to do with the IT information system what they have, and also their leaders, founders who started that. So it's many people have tried, but they have not succeeded. So it's implementation mein log maar kha jate. Now to implement, you require those talented people, hiring those people. So those things are still work in progress. So again, why is there only one LIT? There are so many other engineering colleges. They have not come to LIT's level because we have something unique. हमारे पास history है 1942 से शुरू किया. We have alumni in top places in the world. So any college which comes up now, they will require 40-50 years to develop their alumni network. You think about my own college, SPJMR. What is unique about us? We are in Mumbai. We are very different curriculum. We have rural immersion. We have international immersion. So not many colleges can replicate that overnight. We have 80 professors. So those things others can do, but over time. Yes, Professor, I think we are at 12:20, so we should not bore our students with too much but I think it's a good beginning. And somebody is saying, sir, I have a question. After graduation, should we go for job and then go for further studies in order to gain industry? Sara, that's a good question. Again, I would say it's a very individual decision. So there are some students who directly after their graduation go for a post graduation, either a MTech or a MBA, and there are other students who work for 2 or 3 years and then they go for a MBA or a MTech or whatever further studies. So both are valid aspects. It depends on you, but ideally if you're looking at doing an MBA, then maybe 1 or 2 years of experience helps because you understand company. But again, after 2 or 3 years, will you be still able to study and give a CAT exam or a GMAT exam and score a good score to get into admission? So those are again, things you have to balance. So once you start getting money, and will you still study? So if you think that you cannot do that, better, in your third year, final year, you give your CAT exam or a GMAT exam, which is valid for 5 years, or a GATE, which is valid for 2 or 3 years, and you keep the score ready. And then, you can, join after 1 or 2 years. So that would be my suggestion. Right, Professor? Anything else?
Sir, last question.
Yeah, please.
One last.
Yeah.
Sir, up to what extent will you recommend an staff for entrepreneur to do MBA?
Some people from a family, business hai, or they have money, the father, uncle can back them up. But for most other people, we are from middle class and, we don't have so much money or we don't have business experience. So first, such students, I would, encourage that you first study, work in a company for a few years, so that you, develop network, you save some money, and then you start on your own. So depending on, your own personal situation. So if you're middle class and, if I've never done a business, to work for a few years, study, and then jump to, business. Whereas if you're funny, and even if you don't get a job, no problem, then you can start right away. Professor Bharat, over to you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, we can hear.
So I think many questions you have answered. So that was great session, starting with basic things and so many questions. I think students they have discussed with you different aspects. They have discussed with you. So that was a good thing. So if students have any questions, I think they can write to sir. He has given his email address. So on that they can write and they can have better discussion again, right? So I'm very thankful to you, sir, for such a wonderful lecture. And no doubt near about 1.5 hours, I think we have discussed on the strategy and business planning. So that is good thing. And maybe in near future, we are running the Institute Innovation Council. Under that, entrepreneurship, then business plan, and then other activities are also there. So many startups and so many things are there. So we are working on that, and we are making students aware to this particular aspect. And no doubt in Institute Innovation Council, we have started project session or ideation and then proof of concept. So actually it is from second year itself. So from second year, we are working, we are distributing the students and so that they will work on different ideas. And no doubt the mentor is given, faculty mentor is also there. In spite of busy schedule and in spite of less number of faculties, we are implementing such things for the benefit of students. And once idea is developed, no doubt faculties and a group of faculties, they are discussing with them and that how we can develop this idea and then how we can work out this in laboratory. And after completion of its work in laboratory, or you can say once we have proof of concept, then these students can go further. At the same time, AICT has given some chance to us also. Again, in that final semester, 8th semester is dedicated only for project work, right? So that's why we have started from second year. So from second year, then they will have a connection with industry. They can visit industry. They can see different problems, right? They can look at society. What are the different problems where you can think about? You can say new venture or something like that. So these are the things what we are conducting in LIT, and no doubt your session is that is in line with that only, and that will be very helpful for students. Many students they have attended today. In spite of today they have holiday, but still they found good interest in this. So I am very thankful to you, sir. And near future also we'll have some this type of sessions. So that will be for the benefit of your institute, our students, right? Our institute, right? So that is from
Absolutely.
my side.
Yeah. So very happy to see, the way LIT is progressing, because our time we mostly were studying only chemical engineering, but you're giving exposure to students to business and starting things, arranging, visiting faculties or industry people. So that's a great initiative.
No, that is required, sir. And actually, time has changed. And actually, we are working in, you can say, not only this innovation, this what you can say, business strategy and something like that. At the same time, we are working on some research projects also. We are involving these students in different research projects so that they will have good exposures to us how to carry out different, how to resolve particular problem, which is maybe related to industry or some ideas in their mind. So that is also there.
Great. So I think, one of the ideas, what we have seen in our institute, for entrepreneurship is, the students, develop their own ideas and, they sort of make it and make a competition out of that.
Right.
That which are the best ideas, and then let those, best, ideas or, present to a group of people from industry or other places, who can then sort of give ideas and mentor, or some people can also give funding.
Right.
Because a lot of LIT seniors have a lot of money, so they're looking at new ideas.
Right. But that we can plan in coming session. So
Yes.
actually, that idea competition. Actually, we are also developing this IIC, Institute Innovation Council. So actually, we are also new to this, but we are now very good in this also. So IIC team will work on this and definitely will achieve this type of
Right. And any help required, happy to help, because as I said, this is my college.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we feel very
definitely.
proud of LIT. And
Right.
if you look at me, so I literally grew up in LIT because my father was a professor in LIT. I did 97, my engineering from LIT. My sister also did, engineering from LIT. So our entire family, we are thankful to LIT, because that has given us a career, and what we are today is because of LIT.
Right. And it has great potential. Lade sir, if you want to say something.
Sir, idea competition as well as proof of concept competitions, that is
Your voice is quite low. Can you increase?
Idea competition, proof of concept competition, and prototype competition that are held at national level by AICT At the same time, we are also in next session we are also planning to have that type of competitions at our institute. So at that time, your help will be required to judge the ideas. So your collaboration and your help will be required in future also, so that the business acumen and your knowledge about judging this type of because we are very good at technical, but in business or management type of thing, you will be very helpful in that respect. So we require your help in future also. This is from my side, sir.
Sure. So in that, I would say that, like in Bombay also, so what, some of our MBA students, what they do is, those engineering college has a team, which is trying to start something.
Yes.
And they are paired with one of our students. Because our students know a little bit more about business.
Yes.
And then they work together. So we can look at some of those, your winners or your top 3 teams can be, paired with some of our good MBA students.
Yes.
And then they can together further refine it.
Yeah. That
Something like that we can work.
Yeah, sir.
So if you have recorded this session, maybe you can share with me.
Yeah, sure. I
Yes,
will share with you. It is
Sure.
recorded.
And if you want, I can share, my PPT, which you can share with the students.
Yeah, you share the PPT.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways,
I will do that.
This session will be posting on YouTube or any other platform. So I will share the link with you. Okay, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir. It was a nice session.
So thank you very much, all the students, Professor Bharat, all the professors.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all students for
Okay, sir.
participating today's session, because it was holiday. Still, you spare your time, and moreover, exams are near.
And very good questions. I would say very good questions. People are interested. I'm very happy about the questions asked by the all the participants. So that is very, because the more we ask, the more we know.
Exactly. Okay, sir.
Okay.
So we'll close now.
I'm talking out.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir.